Hey guys, welcome back from your spring break. I just wanted to take a few seconds and do an area for you. Just a reminder, area basically is the space inside a shape. So if I'm looking at my graph paper and I was to draw a rectangle, the area we're looking at is something called square area. And the area basically is how many squares fit inside that shape. So on graph paper, it's really easy to see. We could actually count them. We could say, hey, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's one way to do it. So we can say, hey, the area for this shape is actually 12 units. And we refer to that as being squared. And all the squared is saying is that essentially it's made up of 12 squares. Now that's a long way to do it if we end up having larger numbers, so we can actually find a faster way to do this as well, which I want to show you now. If we take a second and actually look at our side lengths, we'll see that this side here is made up of 3 units. This side here is made up of 4 units. And again, we can find the area by simply multiplying those side lengths. If we go 3 times 4, we get 12 again units squared. So we talked about doing that, and we came up with a formula back last year where we actually were saying area is equal to, and you guys might have used A times B, altitude times base. I really encourage length times width, and that's simply just because I know the PAT next year will use variables length and width. So when we're looking at that, we can say the length would be, hey, my 3 might represent my length, so my area would simply be 3 times my length, in this case was 4, and now I know my area is equal to 12. And we refer to it simply as unit squared because I haven't defined how big, whether that's a centimeter or whether the length of one of these is a centimeter or one of those squares happens to be more or less, or because depending upon what we want, we can actually have different measurements. That's the basics for finding area. So it's really important we kind of keep that idea in place. So now all of a sudden I can start getting shapes like this, like a rectangle, and I'm just going to focus on rectangles today. And if I said, hey, this was 5 centimeters, and I said this was 3 centimeters, I could ask you things like calculate the area. Calculate the area. Well, if I'm asking you to do that, what I'm basically looking for is I'm looking for the space inside that shape. So everything that we circled. So again, anytime we can look at the shape, we turn around and say, hey, this is a rectangle. I want us thinking that the area for a rectangle is simply length times width. This one I'd be saying, hey, my length looks like it's 3 centimeters and my width looks like it's 5 centimeters. And now when I multiply those, I'm going to get 3 times 5 is 15, and I have centimeters squared because we're looking at finding squares within that space, each one being spaced at 1 centimeter each. So easy calculation. I think most of us have seen this. We've practiced it. We may not have had the understanding in terms of what exactly area was, but area again is that space inside that shape. Okay, I can make this a little harder though. I can turn around and all of a sudden give you a scenario like this where I give you a rectangle, and in scenarios like this I could tell you, hey, the area is 27 centimeters squared, and I'm going to put the area inside, and that's simply telling me the squared. Just to draw your attention to it, this squared sign right there, that is actually really important because that's telling us that we're dealing with area. Okay, so again, if I know that and I know that this is 3 centimeters, and now the question might be is, well, what's my width, right? I might give a question like calculate the width. I guess it's a statement, not a question. It says calculate the width. Well, to look at that, again, I know my area is equal to my length times my width. And now this is where I get into my algebra, because I really like algebra and I find it easier to do. But I know my area simply identifying states. Well, my area is 27 centimeters squared. I know the equal sign is still there. I know my length is 3 centimeters, and I know that is being times by my W. So basically what this kind of means is that if I'm looking at this and changing my color here, this 27 is made up of the 3 and the W. So both of these guys make up the 27. So I can just simply look at how they're related, and they're related through multiplication. So therefore, the simple answer when I'm doing this is if I go 27 and I divide it by 3, because the opposite of multiplying is dividing, I get 9 centimeters. So now I know that this unknown here has to be 9 centimeters. Okay, so I can get scenarios where I'm asked to calculate the width, or calculate the height, or calculate various dimensions within that. And it's all going to be exactly the same. It's that relationship between area being the length times the width of my rectangle, and I can quickly and easily come up with my answers. Okay, hopefully that makes sense to you. If you have any questions, by all means, shoot me an email or catch me on Google Hangout, and we can kind of go through this and make sure we're really comfortable with it. Okay, have a good one.